Now, a one-month-old baby boy is recovering after he was attacked by a fox at his home in southeast London. The little boy was dragged from his cot by the animal, which tore off his finger. He was taken to hospital, where surgeons managed to reattach it. The Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, urged local councils to do more to tackle the problem of urban foxes, calling them a pest and a menace. Porrick O'Brien now reports.
They only moved in a few months ago. They moved out for good with their 3 children yesterday. It looks like they left in a hurry. At dusk on Wednesday, their 4-week-old baby was attacked in his cot. It was reported to police as a fox attack. The baby was dragged out of the cot and had his finger bitten off. It's thought the animal got in through the back door. Neighbours who know the family spoke to us today.
I was in shock, really shock, because I was just 3 weeks ago, I was asking her, as she had the baby, and then to know that she's had the baby and this has happened, it really does take it from me, because it makes me a bit of fear still.
The baby was brought to a South London hospital, and it was reported that surgeons have successfully reattached the little boy's finger. It's estimated there are about 240,000 foxes in Britain. Back at the estate, neighbours describe seeing more and more of them.
I was coming back at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I just saw all these foxes, about 20 to 25 of them.
20 foxes?
Yeah, in the street. And I thought, how am I going to get past all these? And then I thought, the only way, because I know that they're a little bit scared of humans, I just run straight at them.
It'll be of no consolation to this family, but what happened here, this type of attack, is extremely rare. Nonetheless, the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, today encouraged council leaders to try to do something about what he described as the menace of urban foxes. Which begs the question, do what? There are an estimated 33,000 foxes in our cities. In the 40s, the government tried to control fox numbers in London with shooting and trapping. It was stopped in the 80s, though, as new foxes were simply moving in where others had been killed. Lethal control was also considered ineffective due to its cost, between £100 and £150 per fox. It's difficult to imagine cash-strapped local councils spending that sort of money. Still, this attack will reignite the debate, to cull or not to cull.
And we're joined now from Birmingham by the animal welfare consultant, James Barrington. Well, James, you used to think that hunting was barbaric, and you now support it. How important is it, in your view, that the fox population is controlled in that way?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, that you don't get these cases in rural areas, and that's mainly because the foxes are kept wild. It's also the case that the government, in its wisdom in banning hunting, took out the one method that was selective. These are scenting hounds that find generally the old, the weak and the sick, the injured animals, and therefore keep the population smaller but healthier.
But killing foxes in urban areas doesn't work, does it? And actually, Bromley Council tried keeping the fox population under control. They found it cost £1,500 a fox, and it didn't reduce the population. So what's the solution? No,
it's different in towns, obviously. The fact is, though, that there is certain similarities in any population that gets too numerous. In London, you have endless amounts of food. You have some people liking them, some people not liking them, some people putting food out for them. And in that case, you end up with populations that are, in natural terms, too high. And so nature will bring in disease. That's why you see so many mangy foxes. Also, of course, you've got some people who, in a sense, treat them like domestic animals. You know, they're taking away the very thing that they like about them, the wildness, and they're in some cases, hand-feeding them. Now, that brings them into closer contact with humans, and incidents like this.
So should councils bite the bullet and introduce a cull?
Well, it would be very difficult. You're not talking about vast areas of rural land where you have 1 or 2 landowners that can make a decision. You're talking about lots of patchwork gardens where one person might like foxes, the other person might not. You've also got a situation where councils would have to work together to get a sort of cross-London policy. So you might say it's desirable, it's just very hard to do.
But isn't the truth that councils are actually just scared of a backlash from animal activists like you yourself used to be?
Well, yes. I mean, look at the badger situation, the backlash there, how difficult the government's finding that. And that's with badgers that have, in some cases, bovine TB. You know, you can just see the problems, not only the economic one, but the practical problems. I mean, what method would they use? You can now, if you wish, have a fox shot in your garden, but what will happen is that vacuum will be very quickly filled by another fox, so it doesn't actually solve the problem.
James Barrington, thank you very much for joining me.